Welcome back to the chapter Coordinate Geometry. In this section, we can have the discussion of two topics. The first one, plotting of the points on the Cartesian plane, and the second one, mirror image or reflection of a point on the axis. So, let's begin with the very first topic, plotting of points on the Cartesian plane. In order to plot the points in a plane, we may use the following algorithm. Step 1. To graph or plot points, draw two mutually perpendicular lines on the graph paper. One horizontal line and the other one vertical line. And step 2. Mark the intersection point of both the axes, both the lines as O, origin. The horizontal line as x dash OX and the vertical line as y dash OY. The line x dash OX is the x-axis and the line y dash OY, it is the y-axis. Step 3. We can choose a suitable scale on x-axis and y-axis and mark the points on both the axes. We have the positive x values on the right side and the negative x values on the left. The positive y values are above the x-axis and the negative y values are below the x-axis. Now, step 4. Obtain the coordinates of the point which is to be plotted. Let the point be P, A, B. To plot this point, start from the origin and move A unit along the OX or OX dash, accordingly A as positive or negative. Suppose we arrive at a point M. From the point M, move vertically upward or downward through B unit, since it is given the point P, A, B, according to B as positive or negative. The point where we arrive finally is the required point P, A, B. Let's have an illustration now. Example 1. Draw a square ABCD whose vertices A, B, C and D are 1, 2, minus 7, 2, minus 7, minus 6 and 1, minus 6 respectively. Also find its area. Here we have the solution. What is the very first step? Of course, we have to draw the x dash OX and y dash OY as the coordinate axis and mark their intersection point O as the origin 0, 0. Now the next step means we are going to plot the point one by one. How to locate the point 1, 2? Since back to the concept that already we learned that in our last video we had a discussion of the quadrants. So the first point it is 1, 2. Of course the both coordinates are positive. It lies in the very first quadrant. So 1, 2 how we can locate? The first line means already that we had that x-axis and y-axis and we can mark the points along OX direction as the positive x values and OX dash as the negative values of x. Once the axis we have drawn, we can mark that numbers along both the axes according to the given points. How we look for the points? It is given 1, 2, minus 7, 2, minus 7, minus 6 and 1, minus 6. So if you are checking the abscissa, x coordinate of the points, the maximum value it comes for you 1. So in the positive direction of the x-axis, we can mark 1, the first point. And if I am checking the least point, that it is minus 7. So in the negative direction of the x-axis, that means it is OX dash. In that axis, we can mark the points minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6 up to minus 7. The same like we are checking the y coordinate or ordinate of the points given. 2, again the same number it has repeated to the coordinate and minus 6. So in the y direction, the positive y direction that is up of the x-axis, we have to mark 1 and 2. Then in the negative direction of the y-axis, that means it is down of the x-axis, we have to mark the points minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 till minus 6. So let's locate the very first point 1, 2. So x coordinate it is 1 and the y coordinate it is 2. So we are checking x coordinate. What is x coordinate of a point? X coordinate means it is the perpendicular distance from the y-axis. So we have to travel from the y-axis in the positive direction. Why it is the positive direction? Since that coordinate, of course, it is 1. So I have to move 1 unit from the y-axis in the positive direction of x-axis or x. And the same like I have to move. Ordinate or y coordinate is given as 2. So from the x-axis, as we know, y coordinate or ordinate of a point is the perpendicular distance from the x-axis. So from the x-axis, I have to move upward. Since it is positive, we have to go up. And how much we have to travel? So we have to move 2 units in upward direction. So the intersection point, we are getting it as 1, 2. Let us proceed. So we can mark that 1, 2 as the very first point A. The next point, it is B, and the coordinate it is given as -7, 2. Have a look for that quadrant, -7, 2. So x is negative and y is positive. Can you tell me in which quadrant it lies? Of course, it is in the second quadrant. So we are going to mark the point -7, 2 in the second quadrant. So how? The same like we have to proceed, -7. So definitely I have to move along the negative direction of the x-axis. From where? From the y-axis, move 7 units in the negative direction. Where we are reaching, let it be the point M as we discussed in that concept, the rules. From there, we have to travel 2 units up since it is positive. The point where we are reaching, we can mark it as B, -7, 2. The third point, it is C, -7, -6. Since both the points are negative, of course, it is in the third quadrant. The same like we are considering the down part, -7 means from the y-axis in the negative direction of the x-axis we are moving. From the y-axis, 7 unit to the, from the origin, that means from the y-axis we are moving 7 units to the left. From there, we have to go 6 units down because it is -6. Where we are reaching, we can mark the point as C. And the very last point, it is D. It is given 1, -6. So the point lies in the fourth quadrant. The same like we can do the x coordinate or abscissa, it is 1. So from the y-axis, we have to move 1 unit to the right. And -6 is the y coordinate or ordinate. Of course, from the x-axis, I have to move 6 units down. So we can locate the point D as 1, -6. Once we plot all the points A, B, C and D on the graph paper, we can join all the points one by one to get the required square ABCD. Now, in the question it is given, find its area also. So, what is the formula for area of a square? Of course, we know it is side into side. But how we can get the side of the square? Once we plot the point on the graph sheet and we got the square, the shape, we can check the side of the square. But how? We can count the number of points from that. How many points are there? AB. Check for the side AB. Since it is a square, all the sides are equal. Check for the side AB. How many units are there? We can count one by one. Check the side AB. So we can have the length of AB as 1 unit. It is on the positive direction, and -7. It is the 7 units on the negative direction of the x-axis. So if you are concentrating for the side AB along with 1 and the 7 units altogether, it turned as 8 units as the side of the square. Since it is a square, the area means it is side into side. All the sides of course are equal also. So we are getting 8 multiplied by 8. So the answer it is 64 square unit. Now it's the time for assignment. DIY, do it yourself. Question number 1. Construct a trapezium PQRS in which vertices P, Q, R and S are 3, 0, 7, 9, minus 6, 9 and minus 2, 0 respectively. Question number 2. Plot the points K minus 4, 4, L minus 6, 0, M minus 4, 4 and N minus 2, 0 on the graph paper. And one more question is there. Name the figure formed by joining the points K, L, M and N and also find its area. We can have a few key points over here. The first one, every point on the coordinate plane is identified by what's called an ordered pair, that is like x, y. The second point, every ordered pair consists of an x coordinate. What is another name for x coordinate? It is abscissa. And y coordinate, of course, ordinate. The third point, the x coordinate abscissa tells whether to go left or right on the coordinate plane. Then how about y coordinate or ordinate? Of course, whether we have to go up or down on the coordinate plane. Now one more important topic, it is mirror image or reflection of a point about the axis. In a plane, to find the reflection of a point, draw a perpendicular from the given point to the line used for reflection. So the reflection, it can be about x-axis or y-axis, and extend it the same distance on the other side. So if you are having the first quadrant, for example, we have to move to the second quadrant. And if it is on the second quadrant we are considering, and one more is there, if I am giving the point on the first quadrant, okay, and we are having the y-axis as the mirror line for you. In that sense, we have to move the first quadrant and we are crossing that y-axis, the mirror line, and we are moving to the second quadrant. Now at the same time, what will happen if I am keeping the x-axis as the mirror line? So of course the point, it is on the first quadrant. We are keeping the horizontal line, the x-axis as the mirror line. So we have to go down. So we are getting in the fourth quadrant as the mirror image of the given point. So we can have a in detail report of about x-axis what will happen, and about y-axis, and about the origin also what will happen to the coordinate of the mirror image. So the first one about x-axis. So in this case we are keeping the horizontal line x-axis as the mirror line. To get the image of a point P of xy, definitely if I are giving a point, it has both x and y coordinates. So we are keeping the x-axis as the mirror line. So what will happen if you are considering P of xy and x-axis as the mirror line? Change only the sign of ordinate. So nothing will happen for the x coordinate. There is no change for the x coordinate. Keep it as itself x. Then what will happen for the ordinate or y coordinate? So let's have an example for the mirror image about x-axis. Let's take the points P1 minus 3, 1 and P2 5, minus 2. As I said, if we are considering x-axis as the mirror line, there is no change for the x coordinate. Only the sign changes for y coordinate. So again we are checking the point P1 minus 3, 1. So what will be the coordinate of the mirror image? We are getting Q1 as minus 3, minus 1. There is no change for the x coordinate. Keep it as itself minus 3. And since the y coordinate it is 1, change the sign of y coordinate and take it as minus 1. So the second point P2 5, minus 2. So what will happen for Q2? There is no change for the x coordinate. Keep it as itself 5. And y coordinate is given as minus 2. change the sign. It will turn as positive. So we are getting the coordinate of the mirror image as Q2 5, 2. Now it's the turn for about y-axis. What will happen for the coordinate of a mirror image? So to get the image of a point P of xy with respect to y-axis, change the sign of abscissa. What is abscissa? X coordinate of a point. So the image will turn as Q minus x comma y. One example for that one. Take the points P1 minus 1 comma 2 and P2 minus 3 by 2 comma minus 3, and we are going to find the mirror image of the points about y-axis. So we are keeping y-axis as the mirror line. So what will happen for the coordinates? In the case of y-axis, the y coordinate we have to keep as itself, but change the sign of abscissa, x coordinate. Again have a look for the point P1 minus 1 comma 2. So change the sign of x coordinate. So we are getting Q1 as 1 comma 2. P2 minus 3 by 2 comma minus 3. So about y-axis we are going to find out the mirror image. So the coordinate will turn as 3 by 2 comma minus 3. Since there is no change for the y coordinate, only change the sign of x coordinate. The given point is minus 3 by 2. It will turn as 3 by 2 and minus 3, the y coordinate as itself. So we are getting the coordinate of the mirror image of the point P2 as Q2 3 by 2 comma minus 3. Now the next one, it is about origin. To get the image of a point P of xy with respect to the origin, change the sign of both abscissa and ordinates of the given point. So the image is Q minus x comma minus y. So again we are considering that the point P 2 comma 5. So what will happen if we are taking the image about the origin? Of course I have to change the sign of both the coordinates. 2 comma 5 will turn as minus 2 comma minus 5. So we can have the reflection rule at a glance. The first one, reflection rule about x-axis. If the point is P of xy, it will turn as P dash x comma minus y. And the same way for the y-axis. We are having the reflection rule. For the y-axis, it comes, if the point it is P of xy, the mirror image, we are getting P dash as minus x comma y. Then about origin, if you are talking, if it is the point it is given P of xy, change the sign of both coordinates, we are getting the mirror image, the coordinate of the mirror image as P dash minus x comma minus y. It's the time for the assignment. Assignment number 2. DIY, do it yourself. Plot the points A 0, 4 and B minus 3, minus 5 in the Cartesian plane. Find the coordinates of the point that is A, the mirror image of the point A in x-axis, and B, the mirror image of the point B in y-axis.